Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Scott Morris. I am the Director of Business Development for GTS Distribution. If you can see my video, no, it's not fooling your eyes or anything. I'm actually on a phone this morning, not my computer, so it's a little different than normal. We're trying to deal with some technical difficulties today. But the good thing is you're not going to be hearing me or talking to me very much. You're going to be talking to two awesome people from Cryptozoic that we have with us today. We have Amanda and Adam from the Cryptozoic team, and they're going to be talking about two new games that are coming up that are both available for pre-order right now. We're going to talk about DC Rebirth, which is the DC deck building game with some very cool new twists and mechanics to it. And we're also going to be talking about a new Cerberus game, which is the ANNIHILAGEDDON. It's Epic Spell Wars ANNIHILAGEDDON. I will let Adam and Amanda give you the full, lengthy, long title that I will more than likely screw up. But just remember the words ANNIHILAGEDDON and you'll be good to go. The nice thing is that while neither of these are released yet, they are both available for pre-order. We are going to be running a special for GTS customers. If you're a retailer of ours and you pre-order either game between today and next Monday, you'll be able to get 52% off MSRP, which is great. You're also going to learn about some OP stuff. And you're also going to learn about some launch kits, which are going to be really, really helpful, I think, for in-store stuff. As always, if you're new or returning, we love to have conversations. So if you do have any questions as we go along, you can open up your chat window by hovering over your video, and there'll be a little chat bubble at the bottom. When you open up your chat, you're going to have the option to either send a message to the panelists, which will just be myself and Adam and Amanda, or you can send a message to all panelists and attendees, so it will go to everybody. So you're welcome to ask your question publicly or privately, whatever you would like. We'll get to them as we go along, and we'll be good to go for that. But with that, I really want to thank everybody for joining. I know last week was kind of a short week with the holiday in America and July 4th and all that crazy stuff. So I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday and everyone was safe and healthy after everything was said and done. And we're going to, I guess, talk about our own fireworks now. So Adam, Amanda, I will take my face that was made for radio and let it be quiet and let you guys take over.
Thanks a lot. I think we're still looking. There we go. Hey, so thanks for joining us, guys. We will, we know your time's important, so we will try and keep it short, sweet, and to the point for you guys this morning, but pack as much information as we can in. As Scott said, we've got two big titles releasing this year with the DC Deck Builder Rebirth and the Epic Spell Wars of the Battle Wizards ANNIHILAGEDDON deck building game. A little bit of a mouthful there. But we can let Amanda start with Rebirth, tell you guys a little bit what we got going on with that, and then I can jump in on some Epic Spell Wars here in a minute.
Awesome. So if any of you are familiar with the DC deck building game from Cryptozoic, you know that it's part of our Cerberus engine, which is a set of rules that we use for a lot of our deck builders. So this is a departure from, well, it's an expansion on the idea of the Cerberus game. So it's a lot of the same rules, but it's not the same layout, as you can probably tell. So we've added a movement component where characters will actually, in addition to having power to buy cards, they have a move stat. And so to buy cards in the deck builder, you have to be on the correct location. So it adds a lot of more resource allocation and trying to plan timing on being in the right place in the right time. The game is both collaborative and cooperative, so it can either hurt you or help you. My friends and I have played it cooperative, and it created a really interesting atmosphere of like, oh, if I run here, then can you run over here, and then I'll get this when you get that. And so it added a whole new dynamic to a cooperative deck builder when you really felt like you were racing around the city trying to save someone or stop someone.
So I love that the villains chase you around the city or try to get to their objectives. So it's not just card flips over, here's a villain.
Yes, as you can tell, there's different locations and they're numbered. And so each villain has a number that they're trying to get to, so they will move around the board as well. And so you will have to take different actions to stop them from moving. So there's a lot of moving components that you have to keep track of that make it really entertaining and strategic and fun. So as far as the, it is scenario based, so it works sort of like a legacy game where you play each scenario in an order. It will affect which cards are on the table, how the threat track looks. This is editable, and so you'll adjust it to each scenario. There's a little bit of flavor text for a story. So each time you play, cards will become damaged if you don't save it soon enough, and then that will affect the rest of the game as you play through the future scenarios. So that's another interesting dynamic that we've added.
The best part about this, you see this and it's like, oh, legacy game, except you can reseal it.
It is resealed.
So it's not destroyed when you play it.
Yeah.
And it does, so it has some great playthroughs, kind of a story arc all the way through it. It is totally replayable as well. I think the biggest thing in there is, the first thing to read in the book is how to open the pack so that you don't spoil anything for yourselves when you're in there as well, which we talked about. But so that nothing gets spoiled when you guys are demoing as well, that's where the launch kit comes into play, which is going to be available to you guys for the launch of it as well. It's going to come with a special scenario that is called the Learning the Ropes scenario, that is designed to be able to walk your customers through the new mechanics of the game in roughly 30 minutes or less. The normal game is what, hour and a half, roughly, on each scenario.
It simplifies some of the rules. It takes out some of the more complex things so that you can build on a knowledge of the rules, just so that you can get the basics down, learn the movement dynamic, which can be a little challenging at first, but it makes it really simple. It cuts your main deck in half, so it does limit the time, as well as limits how many villains that you have to fight. You only have to fight 2 instead of, you know, how many that you would in a regular scenario. So it does limit the time, but it gives you a taste of a little bit of everything without overwhelming you. Also, the OP kit comes with this lovely, lovely playmat, which helps set up everything. It looks all pristine now. When my friends and I played it without a playmat, of course, we did our best to make a circle and figure out where things went. This makes it very, very easy. It is labeled with handy little squares, threat, track. So it makes it very simple to figure out where everything goes. The locations are labeled as well.
Yeah, so you guys may recognize the artwork on it from when we first announced the game a little over almost a year and a half ago. Some of the artwork, so we kept that artwork for the playmat. Obviously, the box has changed to something a little bit more brighter and happier than than what this one looks like. But I think the biggest kicker for this, and I know this is going to be a Gen Con release. However, we've worked it out to where it's going to be hitting store shelves the day before Gen Con. So you guys are going to be able to release this game alongside of us at Gen Con. This launch kit is also what we're utilizing to demo at Gen Con. And then it'll be available at the same time for you guys to be able to play on that. I shouldn't have the chat open on the side here. I just saw the question pop up there, and as of right now, no, the playmat is only available to the launch kit right now, just because I only had that many printed, kind of thing. We are looking at doing some retail options for our playmats in the future, and so this is one, obviously, because of the way it works, that we are going to try. I may have maybe 25 of them extra available at Gen Con to sell. But if it's something that you guys are interested in, having an actual retail option for these playmats, yes, absolutely, give me your feedback and tell me that you want them, and I will start looking into the ways to get them out to you guys. I honestly, I shouldn't be talking about it, but I've been looking at tubes and things like that for ways for us to display them in retail settings, because it is something that we would like to try and do, but hadn't gotten that far into the process with it yet. Which we'll talk a little bit more about our organized play and where that's going here too, with some of the stuff.
One thing real quick to chime in, Adam, if I can, just so the retailers know, the 52% off special that we're running between this Monday and next Monday for pre-orders, that is whether you pre-order the game with a launch kit or without the launch kit. The launch kit is actually a separate SKU altogether, so you'll get your 52% off of the base game. Obviously, though, the launch kit is a huge tool and a huge advantage to be able to, you know, promote the game in store and sell the game and get more players into it. So just want to make sure they understood that it was 2 separate items together that were part of that.
And with all of our organized play kits and launch kits, we do our best to make sure that they're sold to you guys basically at cost. So I think they're going to be $20 available to you guys for $20 a kit, and that basically is what it cost me to make these and package them up. And I'm literally hand assembling them out here in the office and dropping them in the mail this week to over to GTS and a few other people here shortly. So It's something that we want to put together for you guys that's going to drive the foot traffic to your stores. Obviously, in this one, because there are so many new mechanics, that was the focus of this one, is making sure that you had an opportunity to teach people very easily and quickly how the game's changed. So I took over there a little bit, but
That's okay.
so that's Rebirth, and if we've got some other questions and stuff, we can look at that as well. But the other big, super exciting game, Epic Spell Wars of the Battle Wizards, ANNIHILAGEDDON. This is going to be releasing in September. We are going to have it at Gen Con for people to demo and check out. It is the new, it's still in the Cerberus line, so if you guys have played any of our deck builders previously, you should be able to jump in and quickly get the hang of this one. However, obviously it's Epic Spell Wars, and if you know Epic Spell Wars, that means over the top, ridiculous, not friendly for your children, but a great time all around. Some of the cool aspects of this particular title, you might recognize if you played Epic Spell Wars, your wizard cards from the Epic Spell Wars are also used in this game. So you can bring in your favorite characters from the previous one to play in this one. And then you have your familiar, which will be attached to that, which is a special card that only you can buy for your wizard that gives you some special ability throughout it. This is going to be a very competitive game versus the more, like you say, the collaborative, cooperative style of the deck builders. This one, we're kicking each other in the crotch and throwing crazy spells at each other and giving each other magically transmitted diseases and doing terrible, awful things to one another throughout the entire game, which is awesome. It's an absolute blast.
Yeah. There's fun throwbacks to all the different games before.
Right.
It's a fun mix of the brand itself, just meeting together in ANNIHILAGEDDON. Yeah,
and it's I don't think I'm technically not supposed to pick favorites because I work for the company and they're all my favorite game.
Of course.
But no, ANNIHILAGEDDON is hands down my favorite deck builder that we've got so far. I just laugh hysterically the entire time. You can die constantly, but of course we're wizards and there's plenty of necromancy around, so you come right back to life. But you have to take a dead wizard token, which is going to give you some sort of either negative victory points or some sort of horrible ability that is going to mess you up as you move through. And don't worry, everyone's going to die 4, 5, 6, 7 times throughout the game, which is great. Obviously, with the competitive aspect of it, we are going to be going hard into our tournament play and organized play, which is one of the announcements today. You guys are kind of the first ones to hear about it. We're really going to be talking about it at Gen Con and announcing it hard that starting in 2020, we're going to have quarterly kits for both DC Deck Builder and for Epic Spell Wars series. Obviously, the Epic Spell Wars one's going to be much more focused on the ANNIHILAGEDDON tournament, which is actually in the universe of Epic Spell Wars. ANNIHILAGEDDON is the tournament, the ultimate tournament of the wizards on there. So this kit, the launch kit that's coming with ANNIHILAGEDDON, is essentially a preview of what you'll see for our tournament kits coming next year. It's going to come with this awesome, again, oversized play mat with the artwork on there. You're going to get everyone, there's going to be participation prizes, which is going to be a special wizard, which is Abracalabrador, everyone's favorite wizard dog.
Favorite, by far.
And his familiar, the Hocus Pocus. So that everyone that plays in the tournament will get one of those. The top winners are going to get a special alternate art card of Foily Cthulhu, which will be in there. And then these are the Stud Spell Slammer, and that one are going to be the ultimate win kits for the championship tournament that's coming up as well. So there's going to be some cool opportunities for those. And that'll be the kind of the general idea moving forward. You'll get enough wizard cards for everyone that's participating to be able to get one of the exclusive wizards for playing in the tournament. And then you'll have an alternate art card that is going to be something unique to drop into your game. And then the top prize is obviously the big ultimate play mat, which will be doing some fun artwork on there. This is, again, over the top. I can can stare at this all day and not.
No, you see something new every time.
You got zombie bunnies, and you've got
even all the way in the corner, there's cyclopses and new people to see.
I think before we started, Scott had mentioned that when he first started looking at Epic Spell Wars, one of the first things is about the artwork. It's all about the crazy, over-the-top artwork, which they have taken tenfold further with ANNIHILAGEDDON. I think Amanda mentioned too, we mixing all the different games together and bringing something in, a favorite from each of the different Epic Spell Wars titles into this deck builder, which is going to be pretty awesome. You say no custom trophy. I see that over there. So yes, there is a custom resin trophy that we are going to have at Gen Con for the championship. We will be we're looking at opportunities to make that available to you guys for the championship kit next year as well. So right off the bat, no custom trophies, but that is something you'll see. If you guys are going to be at Gen Con, definitely come by. We'll actually have some of those trophies available for sale at the show, so you guys can pick one of those up, take it back, and utilize it if you'd like as well.
They aren't quite a legendary size.
No, right.
They are
more like this big, but yeah.
Still very good, but not. Don't think you have to pack a whole extra suitcase or anything.
And obviously, I'm totally open to you guys' feedback. So when you say things like that, and I see that, it goes onto my list immediately for what I'm going to be doing next year for the tournament kits, to do whatever I can to drive excitement and people to your stores for this stuff. And I really shouldn't have the chat open.
Yes.
I'm looking at this like, okay, we can.
Yeah, no, you definitely should wear the playmat as a WWE bracelet. It's recommended that you hold it above your head and like.
Get crazy, get loud, get obnoxious with it. It's
the whole point.
And Cthulhu, you mentioned Cthulhu. One of the wizards in here is the Ball of Cthulhu, which is just a giant picture of Cthulhu's testicle on a card there
exactly
for you
what you
to
think
play
it
with
is.
that. Yeah, and his familiar is the pube of Cthulhu as well. So yeah, we love this game. How often you get to have a business conversation where you talk about testicles and pubes? It's
not often.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is we need to somehow start to not just record these webinars with you guys, but we need to record your business meetings when you're talking about what makes the cut and what doesn't make the cut for ANNIHILAGEDDON. That could be like an entire Netflix
where people draw the line is very funny, very interesting.
I think my favorite story was talking about people when they were doing the Pleasure Palace Epic Spell Wars, and the quality control on the nutsack that comes in the game there. Do we want this to be a little more veiny?
How does it hang? Does it hang the right way? Is there enough hair? Not enough hair.
So, yeah.
Where's the line?
So there was a great question. Is the DC deck building, the new Rebirth game, is that compatible with the older DC deck building games as well?
Yes, of course. So the Cerberus engine is always compatible. There are obviously some new mechanics and stuff, and we'll have some new stuff coming that will be even more compatible with this particular playstyle. But yes, it is compatible with your other DC stuff. There is actually a page in the rulebook that goes over how specifically to integrate that. Usually when you integrate the different Cerberus engines, they are compatible. You just have to choose sort of which rules you're following and then just make decisions and then follow those decisions. So very similarly, you choose which rule set to combine, and then yeah, the rule book does go into it more detailed on how to specifically do it, but yes. And then even put it somewhere.
I was amazed. I had the opportunity to play Rebirth for the first time with Deacon when we were at Gamma, and I'd known about it. I knew kind of what the plan was and what it was going to do. And as most people know, if they've known me for a long time, while I have greatly enjoyed the DC deck building game over its expansive life, it was something that grew on me because at first, my first experience with it was, why am I Batman using Wonder Woman's lasso? And then I started to realize, no, don't get stuck on that. That's not what it's about. It's all about the combinations and the cool things that you can do in the universe that you normally can't do. And I've probably played personally close to 100 games of the DC deck building game because I have two young boys who love it to death and play it all the time. But when I sat down for Rebirth and Deacon started explaining the layout and kind of how things move around, it was very intriguing from the very beginning of it. And about 5 minutes in, I remember stopping and I told Deacon, I'm like, this is extremely familiar. because all the things we're doing are the same things that you kind of do in the base DC, deck building game with, your power and your punches and your kicks and all that stuff. I said, but just the movement and just the back and forth of trying to get, like you were talking about earlier, Amanda, trying to get over to someone to help them out, to get them in a certain location, and the timing, it created an entirely new experience, which was just as fun, if not better. And it was just super awesome to see. So really excited about what you guys are doing with both these lines. It's really cool.
Thanks. And I think you get it with the visual cues of laying it out, you get a little bit more of a sense of urgency. Like, oh my gosh, whatever the villain we're fighting is at the time, he's almost to his place. We got to get together. We got to figure out where we're going to go and moving around and using your different abilities.
It was really interesting, at least from my personal experience of playing it, how narrative it kind of became, because, for example, one of the rules is a villain won't move if you're on the same space. So to try to stop them from moving, I would be like, okay, I'll sit on the scarecrow while you go do that, but can you come help me so that I don't get hit when it's my turn next round? Or, oh gosh, I can sit on all 3 villains at once, but I'm going to take 3 hits, but I'm going to do it so that you guys can go do that thing. And so it really felt like you were strategizing like heroes. And like somebody was playing as Superman, and they bought all these flight cards, which worked super well for Superman. And so he was carrying people places, and it was just like, oh, I can get you there. And like, I just need to get there. And Superman was like, I'll get you there. And so it was like so narrative that, just as a huge DC nerd myself, it felt so thematic that I was just like, it's really fun.
We've all been really excited about the title. I think they did a great job of bringing this in something fresh and new, that wasn't just more cards. It's actually adding something in, but it still works with everything we've got coming for it. And there are, like I said, plans for the future. It does come with one of the hard plastic cards so that it fits into the multiverse box for you as well, so you can keep it all organized along the lines of it working with everything there as well. So.
Yeah, the other thing too, and it's really great to point out, I know we've talked about it a little bit. In some other webinars, we've had some conversations with retailers, focusing on brands first and the good games that follow from those brands, right? And obviously, Cryptozoic is a long-standing brand in the industry. It's been around for a long time. These 2 IPs, while one of them is internal for you guys with Epic Spell Wars, and one of them is, with Warner Brothers with DC, having the ability to not just have really good games built around them, but having those launch kits to be able to help the retailers kind of kick things off and get things started, that's a huge thing. I mean, we run into people that from a publishing side have a hard time putting stuff like that together just for non-IP games, let alone for things that obviously have to go through licensing approval and all that stuff. So really good opportunity, I think, for the retailers. If you by some chance have never carried Epic Spell Wars before, which would be pretty surprising because it's been around for a while and had a lot of really good games and they've done very successful, but this is a great one to start off with. And I don't think I've ever walked into a store that hasn't carried some version of the DC deck building games. So there's 2 very good long-standing brands that look to just be built upon even stronger here, which is good.
And that's what we're really trying for. And that's, one of the things mentioned, I'm sure I've talked to many of you in the past, stuff when Gen Con comes around, for retailers, especially if you're in the Midwest, it's usually not a fun week for you guys, because us publishers are having a great time launching new products and stuff without you. But I wanted to make sure at least one of these were going to hit your guys' shelf on the same day. So that you can take advantage of that opportunity, playing off the hype. People that aren't able to go to Gen Con can still join in on that launch experience and be able. These are the kits, the exact kits we're going to have on the demo tables out of Gen Con as well, for everybody. So you'll be able to kind of do the same thing and play along with us while we're there. And actually, technically, you guys get it a day early. The street date is officially the 31st. And I won't have it on the floor until the 1st. So you guys get a day up on me as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's great timing though, because in most cases there's so many logistical issues and shipping issues with trying to bring things in before Gen Con, because only about 3,000 publishers are trying to do the same thing. So it's usually a delay. So hearing that that's right around the same time is great. We've actually seen a couple of small, maybe 2 or 3 companies that have been able to hit that this year, which is just a great advantage for the retailers.
Yeah, it's definitely feat of logistics, but it's also very important. I myself came from working at a game store, and I remember going through Gen Con and people always asking like, "Do you have this yet?" And it's like, "No, that's a Gen Con." "Oh, but my friend has it." "Yes, that's a Gen Con." And so like that sort of push and pull that comes from the game industry at that time of year, we really wanted to make sure that we were able to do it. And I'm really glad that our team just like pedal to the metal and got it done, because it's important.
It's been an extensive feat this time, actually, because of the tariff scare. So the ports have been overwhelmed with everyone trying to get their stuff onto dry land before the tariffs went into place. But it's looking like we're on schedule, and it's going to hit just in time to get to you guys for that release, which is great.
That's awesome. That's logistics level up +1, so that's good.
And if it doesn't, then we can all yell at Deacon, and it'll all be his fault. So.
Yep.
Well, we could yell at Deacon anyway. I mean, we don't.
Well,
I was gonna say that.
We have an excuse to yell at him this time.
Some more things.
Sure. That's awesome. So I did want to point one thing out real quick. I made a comment in the chat earlier, but just so that all the retailers know about it. So the ANNIHILAGEDDON launch kit has not been set up in the GTS system yet. It was just announced on Friday, so we're just getting it set up because of the holiday weekend and everything. But that will be set up this week very shortly. So again, if you do have pre-orders for either game, you can place them this week. You can get 52% off MSRP on the game, which is great, and good opportunity to get some more margin from the retail side, which is always healthy and a good benefit. But then on top of that, you can order both the Rebirth launch kit and the ANNIHILAGEDDON launch kit, which I'm sure I will screw up saying that at least another 3 or 4 more times. So because you guys didn't involve me in the testing meeting, so that that leaves me out. So
and yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Scott. The solicitation for the launch kit for Epic Spell Wars is going to be hitting your mailboxes today, basically. This was a good opportunity for us to kind of announce it and talk about it. We haven't shown it to anybody yet. This is the first time anyone's actually seen it. So thanks. Right, thanks for joining. We can, if you guys, I don't know how well you can see the format there a little bit, I guess, but
yeah, there's a lot happening on it.
It's got all the layouts and stuff for you, but obviously the card layouts are built into the artwork of the play map.
The manticores on the throne, and the stone slabs that you lay your cards on, and all the monsters in the arena that you're fighting.
So
it definitely looks Epic Spell Warsy, if that's an actual word.
That's good. That's good. Can we patent that?
Yeah, trademark it.
TM.
Tell Corey that's my one addition. Awesome. Well, I really do appreciate it, guys. There doesn't look like to be any additional questions coming in, so I don't know if you guys have any kind of final thoughts or any last questions you want to add on at all.
Yeah,
you've covered everything. Yeah.
If you guys have any questions at all,
which is awesome.
Absolutely.
And just that's a good point. So if anyone does have any questions afterwards, obviously everyone can reach me at GTS. It's just smorris@gtsdistribution.com. If people want to reach out to Cryptozoic, I think you guys have like a sales at Cryptozoic. Is that right?
Yeah, sales@cryptozoic.com works. You can also always contact me as well if you like. So.
Awesome. Excellent. And like I said, we'll make sure to get the launch kit information out to everybody today as we get that out. But if anyone has any additional questions, definitely feel free to let us know. We're always happy to follow up. As with all of our videos, we'll have this recorded and we'll have it online later today on YouTube. So be on the lookout for that. So if there's anything you missed, you can go back and check it out. Or if anyone has super high def cameras, they can zoom in on any of the things they want to zoom in on and check in on, which would be awesome. But really want to thank Cryptozoic. It's obviously, they're one of our best partners. They're one of our biggest partners. It's a great opportunity, we feel, to share this information with the retailers, where a publisher is not just releasing good games, but they're also releasing, tools and things that you can use at the launch and to help you sell the games better, sell more games, which is always a very positive thing. So we hope from the retail side, it's been a very good piece of information. And we really appreciate you all joining with the holiday week.
Actually,
Adam and Amanda, thank you both for joining as well.
Yeah, you brought up one quick thing I just point out there too about tools and resources. If you guys have a chance, hop on to cryptozoic.com and you can sign up for our business-to-business newsletter under the retailer resources. And we've been putting a Dropbox available to you guys in there as well that has all kinds of marketing assets that you can print and put in your store. You can use on your Facebook stuff, things like that across the board. I think a lot of it in there right now is Rick and Morty, but we'll be putting stuff in this for you guys as well. But absolutely sign up for the newsletter. It's good information. The business to business one that we do will typically give you guys information roughly 3 to 6 months ahead of time so that you can be prepared for it. And then our consumer one that goes out basically announces when stuff's launching in your stores that month type of situation. So.
That's awesome. Yes, information is knowledge. As a wise man once said, knowing is half the battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, all the retailers, thank you very much. Amanda, Adam, thank you very much. Really do appreciate the time. Like I said, if anyone has any questions, you can follow up with us. And in the meantime, just be on the lookout for this to be posted online. And until we see you next time, have a great time in your stores. We'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.